Santa Claus. Santa Claus is actually an Old Norse pagan god named Odin, and Odin had a long white beard and he was old, and he rode around through the sky on an 8-legged horse delivering presents to people.
So this is not true. Santa Claus is Saint Nicholas, and traditions concerning him trace back to Dutch immigrants in New York at the beginning of the 1800s. And we have no ancient sources that stated Norse pagans believed Odin rode through the sky on an 8-legged horse delivering presents.
From Michael Jones' explanation, he basically stated there is no ancient source that would tie Santa Claus to Odin. Now, I agree with that. I agree that it's a pointless waste of time to go back and forth about tying Santa Claus to another fictitious character who is supposedly a false god that people worshipped by tradition. However, you don't need ancient sources to disprove the whole concept of Santa Claus. There are many different sources that probably give different versions of who Saint Nicholas was. By the way, most likely he was not a saint. Did he believe on Christ and keep his law holy? Probably not. But I digress. Some say he was a Catholic who was very generous and gave a lot of presents to children, house to house. Some sources say he was a Catholic, probably a priest. You could probably read a bunch of different stuff of opinions and versions about who this man was, that is, if he ever existed at all. However, here are some facts why to avoid debating history. Number 1, all history we have not directly observed can only be believed. 2, all non-observed history cannot be proven as fact, it's only an opinion, theory, or belief. 3, and since it cannot be proven as fact, then the word error cannot be applied to such history. Using history by itself to prove your point of view is a weak and worthless argument because you can't prove the history as fact anyways. The phrase an original source by itself means literally the source written for the very first time by the author. Therefore, it is impossible to go to original sources since you don't have the original source of the author who wrote it to begin with. So it is a deceptive, irresponsible, and immature phrase to use to prove your point of view. Lastly, 6. We need to take responsibility as human beings and stop using deceptive, arrogant, oxymoron phrases such as historical facts. Such statements will not only confuse the people, but it will also make them think we can rely on history to prove things as certain or fact. We need to differentiate between facts and beliefs. If we don't accomplish this, then people are going to be bewildered of what is a fact and what is a belief. Now let's talk about the tradition of Santa Claus and how Santa Claus itself contradicts Scripture and is in fact a pagan figure. Let's quickly define the word pagan, which is 1828, a heathen, a Gentile, an idolater, one who worships false gods. How about Christmas, according to this definition here? So we can say Christmas is pagan. So when we say Christmas is pagan, we are literally saying that Christmas is a festival holiday celebrated by idolaters who claim to a memorial of the birth of Christ, but actually the worship of false gods. Now this can be done in sincere ignorance, but many practice willful ignorance. Part 3. Why Santa Claus is a pagan figure. Exodus 20 verse 3, from the moral law of the 10 Commandments, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." How does Christmas violate this? Many historical sources that you could probably look up link the Christmas holiday to idolatry and false gods. Now whether you choose to believe those sources or not, it's up to you. But just look around today, and today's celebration of Christmas, Santa Claus has become a false god. How has he become a false god? By the blasphemy comparison to Jesus. The comparisons are shocking. 1. Santa is eternal. Jesus is eternal. 2. Santa lives in the north. Jesus Christ lives in the north. 3. Santa wears red clothing. Jesus Christ wears red clothing. 4. Santa has white hair. Jesus Christ has white hair. Next, Santa flies around giving gifts. Jesus Christ ascended and gave gifts unto men. 6. Santa is coming soon. Jesus Christ is coming soon. 7. Santa is omniscient. Jesus Christ is omniscient. 8. Santa is omnipresent. Jesus Christ is omnipresent. 9. Santa is omnipotent. Jesus Christ is omnipotent. 10. Lastly, Santa has a spirit helpers called elves. That definition about an elf, interesting, is it not? Jesus Christ has spirit helpers called angels. Now, how do you explain that? If that's not blasphemy, I don't know what is. Very clear. Some questions to ask people who celebrate Christmas and have no problem with exercising the myth of Santa Claus. With how sick people are in today's world, would you really want your child sitting on a fat old man's lap, dressed in red, with a big bag of goodies? We teach children it's wrong to vandalize and break into someone's home, but you believe in the tradition of a fat old man coming down the chimney, breaking into your home, and feeding him milk and cookies. What? Not only is that stupid and disturbing, but it's also very hypocritical. If you know that this is not true, then why influence children to believe a lie? People say, well, it's all fun and games. So lying and fun and games is okay? Lying can be fun and a game. Really. A lie is still a lie and should be avoided. For example, this passage, 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A lying tongue. Verse 19, a false witness that speaketh lies. Did you witness Santa Claus in person? Of the myth of him flying around in a reindeer in a sled and giving gifts to people? No. Therefore, you're a false witness. You never saw that. You're a liar. Revelation 21:8. And all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Now, regarding Michael Jones, Mr. Inspiring Philosophy, does Michael Jones entertain the idea of Santa Claus in his home and his life? If he's married and has children, does he influence the idea of Santa Claus to them? If so, then he's guilty of living a lie and telling lies. If you know something is not true, but you entertain it anyway, you are living a hypocritical, double-standard lie that is a fact. F-A-C-T. Fact. Santa Claus has almost everything to do with Christmas. Does Michael Jones celebrate Christmas with Santa Claus in it? If so, he's a liar, and he's living a lie. And he better watch himself. So I'm not going to touch the other examples he gave in this video, just that one, because the other ones are just historical he said, she said nonsense. But the one about St. Nicholas and Santa Claus, blasphemy, that is a fact.